Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. Alright, so today we are going to try and finish up the home build. I definitely need to work on the second floor and weld up the rest of the walls, ceilings, and so forth. And also the exterior. So let's just jump right into it. Alright, so bad news. I didn't anticipate this. I am pretty much out of mats. So, joke's on me. Can't finish the home in this episode. And it's probably going to be postponed for a bit until I could get more materials to continue this build. Because we definitely do need a whole bunch of steel plates that we're missing. So, we don't have too many in terms of our inventories of steel plates. I mean, I try to queue up a whole bunch of them and I'm clearly out of them, or clearly out of iron. So need to find some iron to continue building the home. I pretty much had a long welding session and welded up as much as I can, except for this part here. Didn't get a chance to get to that yet, but got a good portion of it. Got a ceiling here and a second floor going, which isn't too bad. So our second floor, it's pretty much open concept right now with no ceiling or walls, but there's a lot of room here to do whatever I really want to here, to be honest. Alright, so we definitely need more mats, and this I guess kind of some ways to do it. And I realized many things, so pretty much a really bad day or a session here, because I realized I didn't build a refinery after I took it down. So I should have enough mats just to get towards it or make it. I believe I know you need 1,000 steel plates, which I don't know if I have enough. Okay, so that's perfect. So I could plop on a refinery, so I can take care of metal scraps that I have here. I think I have a whole bunch of scraps. So that can give me a little bit more iron in that sense. Yeah, I got like 10k. That's a lot of scraps. That's probably because I broke a lot of stuff. So there's that. Need a refinery. I want to use this guy if I need to look for iron and other materials. I kind of want to use this guy to drive it around to find the landmarks of ores, but we have a problem. This thing has no batteries because either the hinge system here or this system here drain the crap out of the batteries. And this one doesn't really have that much batteries. It's little small batteries anyways. But this one should also have small batteries, but no, it has one large battery, but it's completely gone. So we gotta find a way to recharge that. And of course, we could probably scrap some of these things here because we don't really need it. I don't think I'm ever gonna use this thing ever again, so might as well just scrap it. I already started on the taking down the wheels for parts, but most of it is just the steel plates that I need. And this thing I might scrap a little bit later. I do want to be able to move these guys along eventually, so I can use these batteries for something else, because honestly there's no point of these batteries but having the power cells, and because if you grind down the batteries, the power cells disappear. So I just want to kind of maintain that and keep it as long as I can without having to do something like that. I mean, there's plenty of things to do here, so what is the best way of recharging the ship? And without losing power cells, I would probably put some solar panels on this thing. And then in terms of getting materials, there's two options, of course. One option being we can go around the area, search for some ore. If we're lucky, we get some iron. We can always pick up the iron, or make a big old hole somewhere getting stone, and then we can always convert that to iron, silicone, and other things like that too. But I think ideally we just find an iron patch and call it a day. But the problem is we don't have a drilling system, because if you recall, the big red truck was a big failure, and that was probably one of the best ways to make a drill. In some ways, not really, for getting mats, so we can easily transport the big old drill system back and forth and getting materials there. I have an idea, and maybe, I'm not sure if I want to do this, but turn this truck, the welding truck, put 1 to 2 more piston, and then add a drill or 2. That way we can bend the drill part all the way down a bit, but it really depends how far I can go. I think in previous experience, if I were to bring this thing down as much as this here, we probably need 2 or 3 more pistons just to get deep enough for the ore. And I actually never tried to use a mouse and keyboard controlled drill system. So I mean, this would be the best idea to do in terms of drilling, because we do have our kind of up and down and extension here, so we can drill downwards easily this way. This truck itself is not the most well balanced thing in the world, so it might not be a good idea at all to put on a drill system on here and then kind of use it to gather materials. But I mean, that might be our only options based on the fact that we don't have much materials left. And of course, you know, building a few pistons doesn't cost too much. The drill will cost us a decent amount of steel plates, but we can always grab it from the home. We can just start scrapping it down a little bit, just to get the steel plates that we need. So it wouldn't be terrible. And yeah, I think the first thing I want to do is pretty much get this thing charged up, get rid of some of these things that we're probably never going to use ever again, and maybe really think about if I want to use this as a drill system, which ideally I would just probably make a secondary truck, make it look a little better, or change it up a little bit to make the drill system. But of course, we're running out of material, so we might just change the head over there and see if that's gonna work out or not. And I'm noticing that my motorcycle is gone. I'm not sure why, and that's a bit of an issue, but it's okay. We can just go default with our croc system or croc rover here. But yeah, let's just get this all kind of fixed up. In all honesty, I think we could just pretty much scrap that guy over there for parts, but we'll probably leave that for now. We're not that desperate just yet, but we were a little desperate in terms of getting more materials by kind of grinding down our home floors a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason, I decided to, whatever parts I had left, to hopefully have enough to make a new rover. And this is pretty much another project that we're gonna have to postpone because I don't have the mats for. I don't even know why I even decided to do it. It was a waste of a lot of steel plates, but it is what it is. But it kind of helped out because I was charging up this rover here, which is the croc, and I was charging it with 2 solar panels here, and pretty much to fix the door situation that I have had in the past, where the whole thing would flip over because you closed the lid on it. So basically, of course, listening to comments as always. Your guys' suggestions always very helpful. So of course, feel free to always leave a comment below and suggest things as we go along. All right. So the suggestion, of course, was as you can see here, by default, if I lock it in, it shifts down a little bit based on the hinge. And if you lock it, it still does the same thing, makes no difference. But of course, we want to do it a little bit differently, and that's actually to detach it. So once you detach it, it lets it go, and it's free and no problems existing there. But if you put it attached again, you're gonna see that issue where it just kind of shoves it down a little bit. So that is a solution, and I combine it with this button here so it attaches it. So that was a quick little fix for that. It's been a long time for that fix. I haven't really played around with it. As you see here, I got rid of the cargo trailer, left the batteries here. There's 2 power cells in each one of these. I don't know if I want to keep this, but I mean, it's based on the limited resources that I have currently. There's 7 times 2 power cells here. It's 14 power cells here that I can be saving somehow. So that's not terrible. All right, so getting mats, again, we're gonna look for some ores, mark them, potentially turn this into a drilling system, and that's how we're gonna get our mats. Another option is to go to abandoned settlements and scrap those guys. So instead of having this welding arm, just easily convert it to a grinding arm, and then maybe travel to the settlements and take those things down. But I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of mats out of them, because most of those settlements, it doesn't seem like it's gonna carry too much. I mean, you could always try it. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to just turn this into a grinder, because it's the same kind of build as a welder. So we can definitely try to start getting some mats. But I think if we could just kind of walk around a little bit to look for some ore, or maybe I'll do the combination. I'll just have this guy travel to settlements and stop by some ores. Maybe put an ore detector on this thing, and we can look for ores that way. So that might be the idea. I think that's going to be the idea. And actually, there's a bit of a solution so far, because I'm thinking as I'm doing this to kind of like lock it to play around with this whole situation and clang or whatever the case is. This usually happens when there are things in the cargo containers. So did I forget that there's a whole bunch of stuff in here? Yeah. So it looks like I have a decent amount of stone still here, so that's not too bad. So I could definitely turn that into a bit of iron, some mats as well. So the only problem is I just gotta figure out how to transfer all this stuff into these cargoes here. And of course, you notice there's a bit of an odd placement of a refinery. I put it there because the welding arm was able to just reach there while it's being connected. So it's just the easiest way to build it that way instead of me going back and forth to get mats to weld it up. But yeah, aside from that, we could move the ores manually if we wanted to. I mean, we have some power now, so we could unpark it and okay, never mind. It's not going anywhere, so we're gonna have to. Actually, that's wrong, because what I did was add it to recharge. So if we don't recharge anymore, I think we have enough power to move it a little bit, and it seems like we do. A little bit in a tight situation. I probably should have moved that crane arm behind me, so that I don't have to deal with this. I guess 40-point turn or something, or 100-point turn. So we're gonna try not to break anything and just back it up as much as we can. And it might be a little difficult because of the solar panels that I have here. Not too bad. Alright, so we're doing okay. Alright, so there's many ways to do this, I think, in terms of getting the stone into the base or the cargo. So one way of doing it, of course, is just to make a connector piece to it or on the base and just connect into the back of this thing. So that could be a possibility. Another possibility would be to... Ooh, looks like we're running out of power actually. Another possibility is to just dump it through the connector into some collectors, basically. So since we don't have too much mats, ideally you probably want to do the collector system, but it is leaning a bit and I would have to put it on the ground and everything like that, so I don't want to make any more holes than I already did on this beautiful flat area. So I think I'm just gonna build some kind of conveyor system, and I think I'm gonna build it here to line it up with the cargo container and the assembler. I get either one works fine. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So actually, let me just try to fix this with whatever batteries I have left. Just line it up on that second square. All right, so that's looking good. Let's get that battery charged up from the sun. We get some solar panel power, and let's just put recharge so we can get more power there. Okay, so we want to get some kind of connection going. So I do want to get rid of this and connect a bunch of connector tubes through here. All right, so the idea is to use the conveyor tubes, but then the ways to take too much mats, and we can just bring it up all the up to let's just bring it up to here, and we'll bring it upwards. So we can use either a conveyor junction or just do a curved conveyor tube. I'll just use curved conveyor tube. So the idea here, what I'm going to do is kind of do a few hinge systems with a connector, so we can connect it easier to from the ground to the truck. So we can easily do, let's just say, all right, so we can plop a hinge system here, and what I wanted to do is actually add an additional hinge. So basically we can kind of angle it the right way and then connect it onto the rover in that way too. So let's just let's get some scaffolding here really quick and put in a secondary hinge here, so it goes down. It could go down at an angle, and the top could be decent, not too bad as well. Right, so the idea here was thinking to actually turn this into a scripted spot or scripted thing, so I can angle this easily with my mouse and keyboard. So we definitely need a programming block. We need a cockpit system here. I mean, we can do a remote control, but I think we should be okay by putting a control seat. I guess we could put it right over there. A decent spot, not too crazy. Looks like we need some more computers. Not sure why I didn't pick that up earlier. There we go. So we got our control seat. We do need a programming block. And we could of course put the programming block anywhere behind it if necessary. Be anywhere, to be honest. The programming block actually surprisingly doesn't cost a lot, which is great. Okay, so I don't have build vision, which I should have installed on this. What was that? Oh jeez, that was lightning. I just heard a big old crash. Oh man. Hopefully nothing gets destroyed, but should be okay. Yeah, programming block, control seat. Don't have build vision, so I kind of won't be able to know which one is which. That lightning is getting a little bit closer than I would like. But I think we should be okay, because the base only has probably a total of 3 hinges. Well, not including, of course, the hinges on this guy here. So it looks like this has hinges too. That lightning is going a little bit crazy, and it's not destroying me. Ow, I just took a hit. So kind of need to take some shelter. So probably gonna wait out the storm a bit. Hopefully it doesn't destroy too much of my home. if it does, definitely need to make some repairs. Alright, weather's passed. Kind of just took shelter and kind of AFK'd. But I don't think much got destroyed, so that's a good thing. We'll find out later on down the line if something was destroyed or not, but it's okay. Anyways, since everything's connected, we don't know what hinges what. Yes, I should just have build vision to do this, but whatever. Don't have it. Don't feel like installing it right now. So we can just do that. Oop, that just flopped over. This way we can just go and find our hinges as quickly as possible. So here we just do hinge C, which is connector, a C for connector, for whatever the reason and is. With my naming, I don't know, I just want to make it as quick and easy as possible. So now we just weld these guys up. And now what we can do, since I think we're connected too, so we need to call this control seat same thing or similar thing, and then of course we go to our programming block, and of course it's going to be this one here. So we're going to add in our script, which is our all too familiar with these series and experiments. It's the cockpit, piston, rotor, and hinge controller. So we're going to put that in our code editor, and of course we're going to name everything. So first things first, I'm going to name this thing here, which is the control seat C, because that's the one I'm sitting in. And then of course we got to name and put these guys here. So we have we don't have left and right, we only have up and down. So we just got to name one of them. Oh, actually we have to name one of them different from the other one actually. So this one's gonna be hinge, I think C1, and then we have to do maybe a W and S, and that's gonna be hinge C2, and that should be the top one. So I don't know which one's which again, so unfortunately let's just do this. Oop. And the hinge that's incomplete will be C2, so this will be C1. And of course we're gonna get rid of the numbers. So C1, C2, which is fine. That back together. This connector, we have two connectors in the base. I'll just take that apart really quickly. And this is going to be called C as well. There we go. Done. Okay, so there we go. So now what we're gonna do is go back to our programming block, and I think we have everything set except for speed of things. So we're likely not gonna be in the negatives. Maybe we'll just set it as 1. We'll set this as 0.5, and we should be okay, hopefully. All right, perfect. So as you see here, well, kind of messed that up actually. So W and S is controlling the top one, which is not what I wanted. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. And then my mouse controls this one. All right, so that way we can move it this fairly easily, like so, and we can get a decent connection going onto this guy here. I think I'm way too close. Yeah, I'm way too close. So I'm just gonna kind of back this thing. Well, not even back this thing up. Gotta make this go a little bit forward, like so. Park it, and we should be good from here. So luckily this is a decent view that we can see this. All right, so my W and S is a little opposite, which is not ideal, so but it should be okay. All right, so we are pretty much connected, I believe. Yeah, we are in a weird way. So that's where we have to find the right connector and switch lock, and boom, locked, no clang. Perfect. That worked out really well. So never really done this. I mean, anybody could have probably thought about this, but this is the first time I'm using it like this, and that's kind of based off of the gear system that I had, the landing gear system I had on this truck. But this way it gives us many angles, and of course the ease and accessibility of, you know, rotating hinges with just, you know, your mouse and keyboard, or you're using controller, same thing. So the rover can now charge without any issues, And of course, we want to move all the stone into our brand new refinery. So definitely got to make sure that's happening. So definitely want to get rid of these guys. Probably should leave them there just in case eventually if there's any issues. But we should be good to charge up. Oh. We'll charge this guy up as much as we can before we make our adventure to start searching for ores. And I think I can lift this thing up. Oh no, it's a little heavy. I was hoping to be able to lift this thing up pretty well. I think I need to increase the torque here. But it looks like I'm able to move it up just a tiny bit. Not too much, and it's kind of falling down. So we can just kind of bring it up this way a little bit. So when we disconnect, we don't kind of playing out too bad. So we'll leave it as that. So we're gonna take this guy later down the line, look for some ore, mark them in the GPS, and then also turn this into a drilling machine and get some more parts. I mean, get some more resources and ores. But before we do that, I think let's just try to see how much mats we can potentially get from turning this thing into a grinding machine. So we don't have to swing this by too much. All right, so we're gonna leave it as that. And I mean, you can kind of put one right next to it, the grinders, but it's easily replaceable. So let's just get rid of this welder. Let's just hope nothing's in here. Perfect. All right, so let's just get rid of the welder for now. And we're gonna add in a grinder. There we go. We got a nice little grinder going. Now we can travel. Since this is recharging, let's travel to a settlement, grind down some things, and see how much we can get out of it. Before we do that, I don't think we have a lot of cargo in here. So it looks like we have, yeah, just only put 2 small cargo containers. I probably can add a little bit more, maybe 2 more. Definitely don't want to make it too heavy also. So let's add 4 more. So we can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hopefully that kind of works out. You could always add a large cargo container, but that's actually fairly big for this thing here. And I'd done it before, didn't look too good, so we'll just keep that small cargo containers. All right, there we go. We added 4 more cargo containers here, so we should have more than enough storage for now. I mean, we're probably not going to get too much, and even if we did get a lot, it's I don't want to carry too much weight on there either, because when you carry too much weight, it always becomes a bit of an issue. So this guy is fairly charged up. We should probably empty it out actually. So let's do that. So let's just see what we have in our nectars and everything in there, and swap it out to our large cargo containers. So we're just gonna dump everything in there. Like we have stuff in the small cargo containers, and that's it. Okay, so this is free and we are good to go. So let's go to the settlement over there, which is the Atkins claim. That's 3 kilometers away. So let's make that quick trip over there. Alright, so not too far of a trip, and if you recall in the previous episodes, I took down the turrets here so that it doesn't destroy me too much. And luckily I did that, because now I can return without any action basically. So yeah, with this thing built here, I should be able to easily, let me switch to top piece here. I should be able to easily go close to it this way, and you can go lower if necessary, and pretty much start grinding this thing down. Of course, we do need to put I'm gonna use on off instead. Let's see, on off. I'll go on. There we go. Now we're grinding down this thing here. So this is a little bit of a slow process, but at least we're getting a decent amount of mats, I think. So if we look at our cargo, oh wow, we got a few bit of iron, Oh, I think this came from probably a container in there that I didn't kind of explore. So that's a decent surprise there. So not a lot of steel plates as you see here, but it's still a decent amount, and we get other mats too. So, but the good thing is that we got some silver actually, which is pretty cool. Which is probably not that easy to come by here in this planet, and if it is, it's just a little tough to kind of get to. Oh, wow, I'm going a little hard on this thing right now. So, and also, yeah, I did increase the braking system on the hinge that's connected to the piston. That definitely did help a bit. I can put the braking a little bit more, but if I did that, it just kind of slows down the process of kind of like shifting this thing up and down. Not a big deal whatsoever, but it's doing a lot better than what it did previously, to be honest. So I'm gonna keep it as that. And having the piston extend like that's pretty safe, so it doesn't break too easily when I do it that way, which is good. And I think those are kind of like the offset doors, not doors, windows. That kind of gives us a decent amount of bulletproof glass as well, which is awesome. And we can just keep grinding this thing down. Of course, we don't have to go crazy and grind every little piece, so we can just get as much as we can and then just kind of start grinding other things too. We can add more grinders in the front if we wanted to. I think we should be able to do that without causing too much weight issues, I think. And maybe we should just do that. Let's see if we can. Let's bring this down all the way. We may or may not have enough mats to do so, but it's possible that we have enough. Alright, perfect. It looks like we have enough mats to make two additional two additional grinders here. And I actually never realized this, but looking up in the sky, we have Earth, Mars, and the alien planet. That is awesome. I think I see the moon. Don't know where Triton is. Oh, right there. That's Triton. So we got all the planets fairly close by in a nice view. So this was a decent idea to get resources. Definitely not the best thing in the world, but it's decent. It's not too bad. It's a good starting point, so I can, if I wanted to, I can finish that rover that I was working on to move forward with the yeah, I could potentially use the parts to continue to make my rover that I was working on, and you know, kind of get that set. But of course I do want to make that house and finish it up as much as I can. So that's another big deal, or a thing I need to do. But ideally, I would think being able to get some more the iron deposit nearby here would be probably more beneficial, since we could kind of turn this into a drill system and get as much ore as possible. And of course, we shouldn't be filling up too much. It looks like one cargo container right now that I'm filling it up, which is not bad at all. So of course, swinging it like I did before is going to be not ideal, because I'll break stuff, but doing it this way seems okay. Not too bad. And looks like we're able to grab a lot more steel plates. So I'm hoping we got close to 2,000 now, which we have close to 2,000. That's not too bad. The good news is that we do have an iron deposit. So having an iron deposit, well worth coming here to see how well this works out. So the next thing to do is going to turn this thing into a drill, and then we can pretty much come back here and pretty much start drilling out for some iron. And once we have a good pack amount of iron in our cargo containers, we should be golden to finish up our house build. Right, so we're gonna head back and get to home, drop these things off. Ooh, you know what I forgot to do? And that's of course not extend the front here and turn off the grinders. It looks like this thing has a lot of batteries. Looks like we have 3 days. Well, we're not moving, but we have 3 days of battery, so that's not too bad. If I'm driving it, probably, of course, won't have 3 days of battery. So we are heading home this way. I think, yeah, should be this way. And we can continue to mark down the ores here. We didn't check this one. My mistake for forgetting to put in an ore detector so we don't have to get out constantly. It looks like we have 2 deposits, so I'm just gonna park right in between the 2. And I definitely need to decrease some of the friction in the front wheel, because that's kind of leaning forward a little bit. And that also could be the weight issue too. So this is nickel. Nickel's okay. We can potentially use nickel eventually. This is silicone, so that's fine. Do I want to go deeper just in case? And this one is 26 meters down. Okay, so at least we have a starting point. So we can use some GPS to kind of locate the length of our pistons if we need to see how low we're going. All right, so we're not going to mark these because we're not looking for this anyways. The only one I would mark is probably cobalt, because that's a little hard to come by. But if I am desperate for cobalt, we know where to go, right there. And if we needed iron, if we were desperate for iron, we had a spot for it too. The only difference is that it's super far away. So coming here was just to, you know, test out if grinding down the settlement's worth it. And it is kind of worth it, but it also gave us an iron deposit spot too, which is perfect. But of course, we're gonna just head on home, pack things up, and convert this truck into a drill system. Alright, so we made it home. There was a few more deposits that were around, and for some reason it seems like I'm sitting in a lot of silicone, which is odd. A lot of silicone in Pertam, or is it just my spot? Probably likely my spot. My spot just seems to have a whole bunch of silicone, which, I mean, we kind of do need for our windows for the house, because we have some 3x3 large big old windows. So potentially we can mine those, but pretty much every ore deposit spot that I kind of went by was pretty much silicone. So didn't mark any of them, but I'm sure I will run into them when it matters. All right, we're locked in. Should definitely have some kind of camera system back here, because it actually took me a while to get this locked in, and I just realized I have a battery here that could potentially break too. So if I were to put a camera, I guess we can put it kind of right here, but we'll see. Or here. We'll just put probably like a half block or a slope tip. Put a camera there so we can see how close we are to it. Actually, I can't put it in the front because it's gonna touch it or hit it. Maybe in the back. But yeah, definitely just need to transfer over that stuff so we have some parts, and we can definitely turn this into a drill system, I think. But you know what? That's going to be for the next episode. Alright, so as always, if you made it this far into the video, please hit that thumbs up, like the video. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. You guys' comments has been very helpful, so feel free to drop some comments. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.